System engineering is a great initiative as a way to mitigate the rising complexity in product development products. But how do you keep people engaged? Let's talk about that next. So today there are a lot of companies making this transition from traditional mechanical products to smart connected ones. That introduces a lot of complexity, both from a process, a people or organizational, and a technology perspective. It introduces a lot of challenges. A lot of companies are looking at systems engineering practices as a way to mitigate that complexity though, and it can work very, very well. However, there are some challenges that you can run into. In a systems engineering approach, usually you start off with a lot of systems engineers developing architectures, performing analyses to figure out what is the right approach to take with that system. They then hand those definitions off to different domain-specific engineering teams, and they go off and do their work. They use the inputs from the systems engineers to start off on the right foot, to get going down the right path and develop those systems. The challenge, however, is that there can be a lack of collaboration, a lack of communication across these domains. And that doesn't necessarily cause problems at this phase of the process. Usually it's when you go to prototype and test. When you start to build the prototype, you start to build the system or the product, and that's when you start having failed prototypes. Now, this is when all those benefits you would expect from systems engineering kind of unwind. If it's just kind of thrown over the wall, that systems definition, if it's just thrown over the wall at the beginning and nothing really happens after that, it can cause issues because you're going to need to make adjustments. You're going to have detailed design teams need to come back in and say, you know what, this requirement wasn't feasible. We need to make an adjustment. Let's change these constraints a little bit, which might affect another design team. So there needs to be collaboration back and forth. Listen though, this isn't a hopeless situation though. So what some companies are doing, and they're seeing a lot of success with it, is they continue to use that systems definition as this collaboration and point where a lot of different people can contribute. So it's not just about systems engineers helping make the architecture up front and running these simulations. It's also about these different design teams contributing to that definition of the system and using it as this kind of linchpin for collaboration. It's a way that they can all see the same source of the truth. They can all kind of negotiate and run trade studies in the midst of the design cycle. And also, frankly, this is where prototyping and testing can come in too. They can use this same definition to augment their work as well as the simulations that come along with it. So the whole idea here is that it's not just this thing that's frozen once you're done with kind of this upfront systems engineering phase. It's used throughout the process as a way to keep everybody on the same page, but also to make sure that everybody is collaborating around it and using that definition as a living, changing thing. So here are the takeaways. Product complexity is increasing. A lot of companies are turning to systems engineering as a way to mitigate that risk. The issue, though, is that some companies kind of throw it over the wall once you get to detailed design, and that can still lead to the same issues of integration problems and poor performance in prototyping and testing. However, you can continue to use that systems definition throughout the development process, throughout the design cycle, and allow people in different engineering teams, people in other functional departments to use it as a collaboration point, as a linchpin, a definition that everybody uses. The key to all this is making sure you have the right tools that these other folks can use to contribute and collaborate. It's important to recognize that they are not systems engineers. They probably are not going to be able to use tools that are highly technical that these system engineers can use. They need easier tools that are very, very familiar to them, so the learning curve is not that steep, and they can contribute, go away for a little while, contribute, back and forth. So that's it. That's how you can make sure you get a lot of value out of your system engineering effort, and make sure lots of people can contribute and realize value. That's it. Take care and talk soon.